Hello and welcome. My name is Chilin Tong. I'm the President and CEO of the National Asian Pacific Islander American Chamber of Commerce and Entrepreneurship. We also call National ACE. I would like to thank the U.S. Small Business Administration for providing a space for entrepreneurs to celebrate their succeed and learn new skills as we honor Small Business Week. I would especially like to thank Administrator Guzman for her leadership and hard work from the SBA team. National ACE represents 2.2 million Asian American and Pacific Islander small business owners. We also call AAPI. National ACE has been working with over 70 affiliate AAPI chambers and partners in supporting the SBA and its effort to help minority business recover by accessing PPP, ELDO, and the restaurant revitalization funds. These initiatives by the SBA have support and encourage business owners, especially business owners of color, during these difficult times. Small businesses, no matter their background, foster job growth, drive innovation, and are a critical part of the U.S. economy. Now more than ever, entrepreneurs need access to digital tools to transform and optimize their businesses to connect to their customers. During this session, small business owners from diverse backgrounds will share how they leverage e-commerce to protect their brand, reach new customers, and grow their businesses. The past 19 months of the pandemic have highlighted the importance of maintaining online presence in a certain in-person world. According to the Connected Commerce Council, small businesses who treated digital tools such as e-commerce as essential increase their preparedness and resilience during the course of the pandemic. And more importantly, those businesses that survive going to turn away from the online tools that help them stay connected to their customers through uncertain times. E-commerce is here to stay, and we have a lot to learn. I'm thrilled to be a part of today's discussion, and I'm very excited to introduce you to 3 talented small business owners who will share their brand story and explain their strategies and tips for leverage e-commerce to accelerate their business. Let me briefly introduce. Toyin Kalawale is the founder and CEO of EA Foods, based in North Aurora, Illinois. Alejandro Velez is the co-founder and co-CEO of Back to the Roots from Oakland, California. Can we call you Alex?
Yeah.
Thank you. And Amanda Eddy is the designer and owner of Amanda Deer Jewelry in Austin, Texas. Thank you for joining us today. So let's hear about their recipe for success. Toyin, as the founder and CEO of EA Foods, your company was an early e-commerce adapter, and you're also an advocate for the interests of minority women in business and small business leaders nationwide. Can you share with us about EA Foods and how you got started?
All right, thank you so much for the introduction. I'm happy to be here. So very quickly, I'll tell you a little bit about EA Foods. I grew up in Nigeria. I moved to the United States about 20 years ago. And growing up in Nigeria, food, family, and entrepreneurship was a part of how we survived, being one of 5 children in my household. So moving to the United States, my background as an immigrant American has heavily influenced what we do. And I'll explain what that means. At EF Foods, we sell flour, baking mixes, spices, and powders, and snacks that are made from African ingredients and superfoods. And by that, I mean plant-based, gluten-free, nutritious, really delicious ingredients that we've used innovatively to create everyday American foods like pancakes and waffles. And e-commerce, as you mentioned earlier, has been an important tool, an important medium, an important channel actually in getting access to a lot of customers.
Well, thank you. Thank you. What a new immigrant story. We would love to learn more about your brand and your entrepreneur journey, and we will get back to you. Now, Alex, yes, thank you. Alex, Back to the Roots has grown tremendously for the past years. Can you share with us the origin story of your company and how you incorporate e-commerce into your original business plan? And do you have any concern when starting to sell online and not just in stores?
First off, honored to be here and to be on with Toyin and Amanda. Excited to be on this panel with the both of you. Little background, actually started the company my senior year at UC Berkeley. I was going into investment banking and a friend of mine heard that you could maybe grow mushrooms on coffee waste, but nobody had ever done it. We thought that was the craziest, but also kind of cool thing that you could take waste, literally something that was being discarded, and grow food on it, and gave up our investment banking offers in New York and instead became full-time waste collectors, full-time mushroom farmers. And over the last decade, I've built now what is the largest organic and millennial garden brand in the entire United States. And we sell in over 14,000 stores, as well as in the Amazon store and on our website. And I think you said it beautifully, Chilling. It's not, should we be selling online these days? It's a requirement. So an omni-channel is very crucial to be able to thrive. At the end of the day, we're trying to get every single kid in America to grow food. And whether they're going into a brick and mortar store or they're shopping on the Amazon store or on my website, backtorooots.com, we got to make sure we're always trying to find that consumer.
Excellent, excellent. Wow, 14,000 stores. That is amazing. I have a follow-up question. How do you regulate the amount of inventory you need for online sales?
You know, one of the nice things about working with Amazon, we've been working with Amazon for almost since we started the company. And we've, from the very beginning, maybe as a millennial founder, we always saw the importance of having products that could ship easily anywhere in the country. So we've incorporated in the design process of the products, something that was easy for a product to ship anywhere. So when we started working with Amazon and selling on the Amazon store, the nice thing is that there's actually tools that are in place that help you forecast it out. So whether you're selling on Amazon or really anywhere else, ultimately you partner with the store that you're selling with. And I know, Amanda, you mentioned you have storefront in Austin. I think it's probably similar to the experience on your side. I think with you and maybe you're partnering with, knowing the consumers that are coming based on seasonality of the products you sell. Ultimately, you're trying to read a little bit of the future and you find partners or tools that help you do that.
Thank you, Alex. We'll come back to the design process. I think that is so important. I'm sure that many minority-owned business will be able to relate to your company. Back to the Roots, simple and effective mission-based company. Now, Amanda. Amanda Eddy is the owner and designer of Amanda Deer Jewelry in Austin, Texas. What a great talent. You can design and also you can sell. Can you share the story of Amanda Deer and how you made a decision to reach your customer both in person and online?
Thank you so much for having me here today. I started Amanda Deer Jewelry 11 years ago. I was actually working in the tech industry and I just needed to do something to step away from my computer and just do something organic and creative. And I really just fell in love with making jewelry, using my hands to create something. And I was like, okay, I have to figure out how to do this like full time. So it just became a passion of mine. And, you know, friends would want pieces, my family would. And I finally like took the step, quit my job, and went full time making jewelry. We started online through the Amazon store. We have an Etsy store, and then we have a website powered by Shopify. And I hired a few friends, and we had a 200 square foot studio where we did everything from make, design, ship. It was, we could hardly move. It was so compact, but we had a lot of fun. As I started to grow, I knew I needed a bigger space, and we actually found this absolutely beautiful old building in downtown Austin that was going to be big enough to be our headquarters, our fulfillment center, and have a showroom, a retail showroom up front. So I kind of had to change my business plan and say, okay, can we make this work? You know, retail is completely different than, you know, selling online. And I'm so glad we did. We started with pretty small goals of, okay, maybe if the retail side can pay for the extra square footage that we're getting, then we've hit a milestone. But it's just exceeded our expectations. Being able to have people browse our website online and then come into the store to try it on and buy it has just been an incredible thing. And then also just meeting with customers in person has just been an incredible experience. So I kind of did it backwards, starting online and then opening the store, but it's been an incredible experience and one that I'm so excited to talk about and share with today.
Absolutely. You know, it's very brave. You can just resign, quit your job, and pursue your American dream. That is so wonderful, so wonderful. Yeah. And also you have found a way to diversify your selling channels through a combination of e-commerce and retail. That is very, very smart.
Thank you.
Sure. Now let's get back to Toying. Toying, how selling online has shaped your business strategy and operations?
Okay, so when I started the company, it was initially really difficult to get buyers to take it seriously. A lot of times people would describe me as selling Nigerian food, you know, even though I was holding pancakes and waffles. And that used to be initially really frustrating for me, but I understood it. So there was a fit problem, there was a branding issue at the beginning. So what I decided to do is, let me go online. And this is why I'm a strong advocate for technology-based solutions, because with technology-based solutions, you get to try, you get to see the effectiveness of data without kind of like the issues you might come across when it's more a perception problem. So we went to Amazon. We, like Alex mentioned, we've been selling on Amazon stores almost since inception, and we put our product on there. And for us, it wasn't just the ability to become a seller on Amazon store, but it was also the opportunity to see what our competitors were doing. Alex talked about being able to ship in an effective way. So I remember when we started selling the Amazon store, initially we had different sizes for some of our products. And then when, you know, it wasn't taken off the way we wanted, we went to look at our competitors and say, what sizes are they selling? Does that translate to cheaper and more effective shipping costs for the customers? We would look at competitor data. We would look at competitor reviews. So even in innovation, I would go, some of my team go and start reading reviews. When we see what customers are saying, I like this about this particular brand, I like this about this particular SKU, we would note that down. When we see what they don't like, we will also note that down. So we kind of knew just going to not just competitors, but looking at just our category, what sizes to sell, what to innovate and give customers more of what they wanted. So e-commerce was definitely, I want to say, a stepping stone to how we started, because not only were we able to be successful and grow there and innovate and affect every aspect of our business, we're actually also able to use that sales data to pivot into stores. So now we're in Walmart, we just got into a bunch of other stores. And what we were able to do was take that data. For example, I'll give you one quick example and I'll stop. There's one of our baking mixes, we took the data from Amazon and we're able to go from selling 300 units of that in November of last year to selling almost 300,000 units of that this year, because we're able to use that data to pivot into stores. So selling online has definitely been amazing because it's opened doors. The way I like to describe it is when you go to a tech-based platform like Amazon, the door is kind of open, right? So you can go in there regardless and just try to compete and try to see how customers respond to your products. And that's a big deal for me as a small business owner, particularly as a minority-owned business. It was definitely an important door to be able to walk through.
Absolutely. And how can you keep the balance in optimizing your profits while still providing your customer a high quality product?
All right, so there's a lot that goes in there. So first of all, to get the customer right, you have to give the customer what they need. So we offer a plant-based, gluten-free, delicious product. But at the same time, there were other components that selling on the Amazon store has actually been helpful for us. You're going to hear me talk a lot about the Amazon store. That's because that's where we do most of our e-commerce business. So Alex mentioned the inventory planning tools. So that has been important in terms of not just acquiring customers, but keeping the customers, because you don't want to go out of stock. So we use the inventory planning tools to actually plan. Every day we're looking at those tools and we're using it to plan production, but also logistics. Being able to use FBA, for those who don't know what that means, is fulfillment by Amazon, was incredibly important for us as a small business, because there's some customers who will go online to our Amazon store and be able to get the product next day. That's something that is impossible for us to do effectively, cost effectively as a small business. So those are the kind of things that we've used to remain profitable. Is what you want to do is you want to increase quality, you want to give customers what they want, and you want to reduce your expenses as quickly and as best as you can. So being able to sell using the FBA planning, using inventory planning. So with inventory planning, like I said, there's a lot that goes into that, because when we're looking at our inventory planning, we know what we're going to sell. We can forecast what we're going to sell during Thanksgiving. We can forecast what we're going to sell during the holidays. So we can negotiate ingredient costs in the best way possible because of that.
Yes, absolutely, Toyin. I can feel, you have full passion about your business. It's always so nice to promote Nigeria culture through the food. I think that is so wonderful. Thank you. Amanda, in addition to your position as a business owner, you also serve as a charter president of the Women's Jewelry Association. Thank you for doing the community work. I'm sure you have heard from many business owners in your industry. They are facing operational challenges during the past year. What role has e-commerce played in supporting small business growth, while many business owners face closure or capacity restrictions?
Well, that's, so important right now. Last year was a really tough year for a lot of the members of our chapter. We have a lot of very traditional jewelry stores that are, not online, they're retail only. So they're just brick and mortar. So when they had to close their doors, everything stopped, money just stopped coming in. So we really focused our resources last year on continuing education in the form of webinars for our members, whether it was creating your first website to sell, online, whether it was teaching them how to use promotional sites like Pinterest to promote their jewelry, to get it to more people. We really focused on helping them sell online and getting up their first websites and going to e-commerce. It's so important now. I feel like, you really have to future-proof your business, because you just never know what's going to happen. So that's why omni-channel, selling is so important. We saw some incredible stories of resilience and growth last year with our members. Stores that have been around for 50, 60 years started their very first e-commerce website last year to sell things online. So it was just incredible to see the resilience of the members and how quickly, it is to put a website up now as opposed to years ago. So it was great. I look forward to lots more training and webinars and really pushing e-commerce with our members.
Yes, talking about website for the startup entrepreneur, what's the quickest way to put together an e-commerce site or website if you don't have a technical experience or the budget to hire a web designer?
I really like Shopify, which is a site that you can use to create your own website. They have built-in themes that make it super easy and simple to get something started. If you're a product-based business, it's just easy, and you can create a really beautiful looking website in a matter of minutes. Also, we rely very heavily on the Amazon store to sell our products. That's also, very easy to get up and running. You go through the onboarding process, and really you just need your photos, your copy, and you're ready to go. So don't discount all of these really great places that you can sell online that have these built-in marketplaces that help you reach people that you might not have gotten on your own through your own website.
Thank you so much. And Alex, I know very much like Amanda and Toyin, giving back is a big part of your brand. Please tell us about your mission and how you encourage your customer and your community online by connecting with them, share a set of values.
Yeah, so the gardening is one of those things, if you've never done it, is it's hard to fully relate to a gardener until you've actually gotten your hands dirty and done it. I would say it's a lot like meditation or yoga. Once you get into it, the effects on your well-being, your health, and your mental well-being are massive. And it's a really exciting time in the category and the industry, because for so long, the category captain has been Scott's Miracle-Gro, and great company. I've been around for a while, but in so many ways, they're still a chemical fertilizer company. And I think as you look at the millennial consumer, they're looking for so much more. They're looking for a connection. They're looking for ingredients they can understand and stuff that they want to, be able to put in their home, and when they have houseplants inside. So ultimately for us, it's about how do we get kids to garden? How do we get that next generation to be able to do this as a community? And one of the things we started, which I think referenced from the very beginning, back when we were doing farmers markets, when we were 22-year-olds, it was every time we had a family come by, we said, hey, if you, after they purchased it, if you send us a picture by text message at the time, we'll donate one to a school of your choice. Fast forward 8-9 years, and we've now put that in every single one of our products that we sell, and it's incredible. It's the longest and standing marketing campaign we've had, but it's very much inspired by Blake Mikowski's Tom's, the 1-for-1 model, and we just want to take it to the next level. We said, hey, we want our community to actually be able to do the donating themselves. So on our side, we tell consumers every time now, it's not a text message to me personally, but you can go on any of our social channels. You can email us. And if you take a picture, share it with your kids, we'll donate one to a school. And what beautiful thing about this is the community we've built. If you actually go to our Instagram or our Facebook and you just see our tag pictures, it's pictures of their kids with our products. I mean, how many parents that's the most intimate, picture you can have, one of your kids. So often parents never share pictures on social, yet if you look at our Instagram, it's all full of our community sharing the fun and the joy of growing. So it's just, I've heard in the past, if, the more you give, the more you get. And I feel like that is what Back to the Roots is all about. And it started when we were doing farmers markets. I feel like families were the ones that kept us busy. And if y'all have done farmers markets before, it can get pretty boring if you're just staying there and nobody talks to you. So for us, we're like, man, somebody stood 30 minutes and talked to us about mushrooms and growing. So we got to donate something. So it started spontaneous, and now it's become the longest lasting, most important part of our community.
That is absolutely amazing. Thank you for your service. And previously, you talked about the design process. So, you have developed a very good social media and all the tools, and also you'll be able to connect to the community. How do you put two together? What tool have been most effective to help you to make those connections?
Got it. So you mean connections between our social and our online?
Your customer, your community.
I think, and I think Toyin said this beautifully to start. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to have a product that people want. And I think our job as brand builders is, once we've got products that our consumer wants at the time, we've got to find a way to get it to them. whether it's in our side is whether it's in store, whether it's online on an Amazon store on our website, or whether it's on social. So I think for us is we've got to have a product that solves somebody's need, and then we got to put it out in front of people. So at the highest level, however they experience our brand, whether it's when they interact with our product, when they're at a Home Depot or at a Target store, or they just happen to be on Instagram and they get one of our ads, at the end of the day, that all should be the same cohesive message. And that's a way to get them into our brand. So I think the overall approach to it is, hey, we want to make products that people hopefully want to buy and need, and we just got to get it out to them. And I feel like everything else is just ways to get it out to them, whether it's online, whether it's in store, whether it's on social. Ultimately, that's what our job as brand builders is all about.
Well, thank you for sharing. Toyin, like a National AIDS, my organization's member recognize that the minority-owned businesses have been historically disadvantaged in the large market. As a minority women-owned business, what are you seeing from your partners in industry that are helping to address that gap in access, resources, and opportunity?
And that is such a true point. I think because I grew up in Nigeria and I moved here at the age of 26, I didn't appreciate just how serious and big this problem was. So when I started my business, I started to really come across a lot of the issues you have as a minority, being a woman, and on top of that, being a black woman. So the first thing I started to do as a small business was plug into the ecosystem within my industry. So for example, the food ecosystem, and then take advantage of every resource I could. So a good example, and I mentioned earlier that I was going to talk about Amazon quite a bit because that's where we do most of our e-commerce sales, is the Amazon Black Business Accelerator, which we were a part of from the beginning, even before we're part of the pilot program. We've been a part of that since November. What that has done for us is giving us a better understanding of how to dissect the data. And data is really important because as a small business, a lot of times you don't have the time. When I started my business, I was the one who cleaned the bathrooms. I was the one who made the product. I was the one who did marketing. You do everything. So you don't really have the time at the beginning to dive into data. So having access to data, understanding how to use the data, having access to EBCs, which are enhanced brand content. And that's usually when you use your pictures, videos, and use really good content to market what you're selling to your customers. So we plugged into that really powerfully. And of course, it's been a big impact for us in how we've grown our business. For example, earlier this year, we were 400% in terms of the number of things we were selling and the number of the revenue we were getting from our Amazon store compared to last year. And that's what we've done, grown year on year, just on our e-commerce platform and also on the Amazon store. So that's one. I mentioned earlier, plugging into food ecosystems. So you want to plug into, and the reason why I say plug into ecosystems and resources, when you're a woman in America, you're going to get less funding. That's just a fact. When you're a Black person, you're going to get less funding. That's just a fact. You're going to get less access to resources. So what you want to do is you want to be really intentional, and you want to be really you want to be a hustler is what I'm looking for, into just looking for any resource that is out there. So even though we've grown tremendously as a business, as a small business owner, I apply for every grant I come across, regardless of how small it is, because it adds up. Also, I protect my mental health. Mental health is something I talk about a lot as an entrepreneur, because regardless of who you are, whether you're a minority or not, I don't think people talk enough about the mental health of entrepreneurs, how you bet it all on one thing and you don't know how it's going to turn out. So I do spend a lot of time making sure that I protect my mental health. This is a nice plug for Back to the Roots, because
we got to get you gardening.
Yeah, I'm actually a customer.
Yeah,
Alex, absolutely. Alex, especially for women, I think it's a good practice. We just need to protect ourselves from the mosquitoes. Yes, definitely. We all have to try. Alex, let me ask you, I'm really interested about your connection and also tools. So the internet is a very competitive place, both for online seller and between online stores. Can you talk about how you actually use digital tools to protect your brand and intellectual property online?
Yeah, so ways to protect our brand online. I mean, I think we take an approach of, and I think maybe it's the similar mindset that Tony has of, at the end of the day, the market's going to copy you. If you put in, one of our top sellers is a mushroom kit. If you put in mushroom kit, there's like 10 copycats already that look exactly like ours. There's over 40 around the world that, I mean, it's copy paste to what we do in different languages. We have, if you put in aquaponics fish tank, there's a bunch of copycats have made all over the world too, and selling on Amazon, the Amazon store. So my big belief is you just got to get out there. You got to hustle. You got to put your product, you got to get your name out there. You got to get people to know who you are. And you got to, as much as possible, have a product that can just wow that person that's looking to buy it to solve something. And then ideally they come back and either buy it again, buy something else from you. So that is by far the way I see protecting yourself, is by obsessing over, if you just get complacent, somebody else is going to go create a product that's slightly better and will end up putting you out of business. I think that's a reality of maybe the mental health aspect of being entrepreneurs, is that it's a 24/7 job. I think Mark Cuban has said that. This is hard work. And that said, I think there's fundamentals you got to do. I think on the Amazon store, there's something really great, which is called brand registry, which I highly recommend anybody starting on Amazon to do. And that's a way to protect it. I think Amazon has to do a lot more for small businesses to protect us and give us more leeway before 3 months later, there's copycats. Just, I mean, Toyin mentioned this is clearly, and if you go to Toyin's Amazon store, it's beautiful. I literally sent this to my own team. I'm like, we got to do better. So I'm like honored that you're like, you've bought my stuff, because I was like, hers is perfect. Across the board, I think it's so clear what you're doing is clearly working. But so many people get on Amazon, the Amazon store to copy, and there's so much transparency, which ultimately I'm a big believer in it, but reviews tell you what are the features that they like, that they don't like. There's a lot of data in the back end that you can get. And I think ultimately it's a free market. That's the point. I think there's some great tools that Amazon is starting to release. Brand registry is a really important one. I think there needs to be more from not just Amazon, every retailer, to be able to protect small businesses, the ones that bring in innovation first, to be able to get a slight heads up, because it's not entirely a free market in the world. There's different parts and different industries that have, there's subsidies in different countries. There's including in the United States in the food industry that make it where it's not. I'm all for a free country, all for free market. But when you start adding subsidies into the equation around the world, or different practices towards how the employees and the teams are treated, then it doesn't become apples to apples. So ultimately, it's a really hard and challenging issue to solve. I think Amazon's trying to solve it, and other retailers are trying to do it as well. But I don't know how I got to this long of an answer, but it's a really, okay. I think it's an in-depth question, but
yeah. Great. Well, let's the next question, give me a short answer. For a lot of customer service, it's easy to handle in store, but how do you make sure customer service meet your brand's bar when selling through online vendors?
It's easy to have customer service when you're in store, you're saying, but how do you do that online?
Correct.
I mean, we sell through Vendor Central, so we don't have the direct communication with the consumer. Amazon has the relationship. On our website, I think follow-ups are key, and obsessing over your consumer, making sure that if somebody has a complaint, if somebody reaches out to you with a customer service issue, not just solve their issue, solve their problem, go above and beyond, and then see if it's a systematic issue with your product, so you can learn that and make sure you don't do it with other products, or you fix it going forward.
Okay, thank you so much, Alex. Now, Amanda, we would like to just follow up or question to Alex. How do you get a traffic to your site? And how do you manage in fulfillment of those orders coming in from multiple sources?
So we do a lot of advertising on different social media platforms. We also work with influencers and have affiliate programs to get people to wear our jewelry and then talk about it. So there's a lot that happens behind the scenes to get our brand out there. And it's, it's been a long time, 11 years of working really hard to build a brand and really create a beautiful aesthetic, not only on our website, but with our packaging. Like when you get your product, it's got to look beautiful. When you come to the store, it has to look beautiful. Everything from the tone of our customer service emails to the tone of the copy on our website is very thoughtfully done so that you just have this really great experience. So when we do reach out to those customers through advertising or organic means, they have a really great experience whenever they interact with our brand, no matter what touch point that is. So that's that. What was the second part of the question that you asked?
Yes, the second question is, how do you managing fulfillment of those orders coming in from multiple sources?
So with our Amazon store, even in Amazon Handmade, which is what we're part of, you can do Amazon FBA, which is really great. You make it and ship it and you don't have to think about it anymore. It's amazing. When orders come in through our other sites, Shopify or Etsy, we use a product called ShipStation that kind of like brings everything together. And it's just one really easy way to have a snapshot of what needs to go out, what needs to be made. We're still making, hand making a majority of our pieces. So we do have like a lot of time that goes into fulfilling and processing orders. So I have an incredible studio manager who is really organized and is really good at inventory management and getting all of that out the door every day. So we have a lot that we do, but we've got tools like that that help us along the way and help us get things out quickly, because I think that, today's customer wants things yesterday. They don't want to wait 4, 5, 6 days for things to arrive. So that's why FBA is great. That's why offering like things on Prime is great. We actually offer free shipping across all of our stores that we sell on. And I think that's really important nowadays. And you really, as a business owner, have to take that cost into consideration and kind of build it into your product price, or you're just going to lose on the other side.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Amanda. Thank you so much for all the great answers. We have a few additional questions here submitted by small business owners that I will address to the whole panel. Please just jump in if you would like to answer and share your advice and experience. And the very first question from our small business owners, many small business cannot make it. They cannot survive and have to close their shop. And you have proven that you can do it through this difficult time. Can you share with us how you make it? What keep you going? Amanda, maybe you can start it.
I think if anything, last year showed us that you have to be prepared for, anything can happen. And, we really sat down as a team and took a look at like, okay, if sales just stop, like, what are we going to do? And I feel like we've got a really strong business plan and a really great dedicated team, and we were able to kind of like weather the storm, which is still really rocky. It's still, if you're selling online, last year was amazing, right, for e-commerce, but for brick and mortar stores it was really tough. So just understanding that and having a plan is key. But for sure, like, have a plan. I like to have like a nice little cushion sitting in the bank in case something happens. I know that not everybody can do that, but 90 days 3 months is a long time to figure out a pivot or something to do. So that's kind of like where we always like try to run, and not having any funding and being bootstrapped, that's really important to do.
Thank you for sharing. How about Alex?
I'll say one thing, and I would say anybody who's looking to start a business right now, lean on your partners. And I would define that as do everything you possibly can to get an unfair share of attention from your partners. I would say the three of us here on the panel, we're getting an unfair share of attention from SBA, from Amazon. Like, that is, we should be super humbled, super appreciative, and always look for that. At the end of the day, that's how you're competing against really big brands. You both have competitors of yours are massive. Same in my category. So get an unfair share of attention from your partners. And I think a lot of that will come from the mission behind what you do, the passion that they both have, and I obviously have for my business as well.
Thank you. Toying.
I think the first thing I like to say is just be kind to yourself first, because EF Foods is my fourth business. The first one failed spectacularly within 6 months. And I remember how difficult that was. I had my first child, I was pregnant with my second. And so I always advise people be kind to yourself. Sometimes what you think of doesn't work out. Sometimes you have to start a new business. Sometimes you have to pivot, which Amanda had talked about, pivot within the business. Right now, even in EF Foods, we're going through a branding refresh right now that we're going to unveil in November. So we even have to pivot within the successful business. So first of all, be kind to yourself. Two, know when to pivot, because that's very important. And number three is something that I've learned along the line is know who your true stakeholders are. That's something I had to take very seriously as the founder of the business. And I had to define very, very clearly who our true stakeholders are. Once you define that, you start to ask the right questions, and then you start to have the right answers. And then you see parts of your business, not all of it, you see parts of your business begin to take off, which is why pivoting is such an important part of succeeding as a business. I can give you a quick example of that, and I'll stop. The first thing we started selling at EF Foods was actually sauces. The first two products were sauces. We discontinued those sauces 2.5 years in, and that's very difficult to do as an entrepreneur. But we had to pivot to dry foods because it was incredibly difficult to compete in the wet food category. So those are the three things I would point out. Be kind to yourself, know when to pivot, identify your true stakeholders, and the rest begins to fall into place.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing with us. I think your testimonies and your experience really inspire all the small business owners. I have seen the braveness, through this panel. And one, you're a new immigrant. And we have Amanda resign her job to pursue her dream. And then we have Alex starting from college, doing that from his kitchen. It's just an amazing story. If you can make it, I'm sure other small business owner will be able to make it. We have other questions. If a brand is just getting started with their business plan, what questions should they be asking themselves to formulate their online sales strategy? Who would like to start?
I'll hop in. I mentioned
Sure.
I mentioned just the cost of things, really. Through your Amazon store and through FBA, you can offer free shipping. But if you want to do that somewhere else on your own site, you really need to think about that cost, because it's not really free. Somebody's paying for it. So factor that into the price of your product, and just really think about all of the things that you have to pay for as a business owner, and put that all in your plan. Before I quit my job, I sat down and wrote this massive spreadsheet of like all of the things that I needed, and it's a lot. And just make sure you're prepared and you think about kind of everything. And then I just wanted to touch on, when you're starting out, it can be kind of hard when you're working by yourself. I was in a spare bedroom in my house for a year, just doing this by myself. And don't be afraid to reach out to other people in your industry. Shoot them an email, or if they're local, ask them to go get a cup of coffee and ask their advice. You'd be surprised how many people are so quick to respond, and they're going to get so much out of it, just like you are.
Thank you. And the next question is about the international markets. How have e-commerce sites help you reach new international markets? What tools are available to help you get started selling internationally? Any one of you can answer these questions?
That's actually something we are working on right now. specifically for Mexico, for 1 or 2 of our SKUs. We're looking at Canada as well. And I would say in terms of e-commerce, what that enables us to do, especially our Amazon stores, because they have all these ready formats, ready platforms where you can port your SKUs or your ASINs into to sell in different countries. So that has been useful to us in terms of explaining, in terms of exploring it. That's also one of the benefits of the Black Business Accelerator that I mentioned earlier, because we're able to talk to the account manager that has been assigned to us by Amazon to say, hey, we want to sell in Mexico. What do we need to be thinking about in terms of packaging? Because for a lot of these countries, sometimes you have to have different languages. For Canada, sometimes you have a lot of packaging. You have to have French. For Mexico, you have to have Spanish, obviously. So those are things that we've been working on as well. But so far, it's been a pretty smooth process walking through the Amazon store platform as opposed to doing it on our own.
Thank you. Well, we still have a couple questions we wish we can answer or business owner for those questions, but we have very limited time right now. The following question is, unlike a brick and mortar retail where you can estimate how much foot traffic you might have come through, online sales can vary widely day to day or month to month. How have you managed to scale your business and remain flexible to demand? Alex, can you help to answer this one?
How have we managed to scale based on the seasonality?
Correct.
I mean, that's particularly tough with a business like the garden industry because it's seasonal because of the sun and the weather. I think I spoke to this a little bit earlier, and there are so many more tools, and I would strongly argue anybody who's launching online to start with Amazon, whether you can apply to be a vendor or doing it via as a 3PL. The Amazon store, I mean, there's thousands of small businesses like you that have done it, and through that, they've got a lot of trial and error on tools that help you forecast. So don't do this alone. Find partners from the beginning. Sell the product. Don't spend a year thinking about what product to sell. Put it out there. Talk to consumers and leverage stores like Amazon, like Etsy, like Thrive Market, there's a ton out there that will help you get your product to your consumer. But go out there and sell. Don't overthink it.
Okay, excellent. Or last question. How do you use online advertising to reach more customers, and what's your strategy? Can each one of you just give me one sentence? Amanda?
I'll go really quick. I talked about this before, but we use a lot of Facebook advertising and lookalike audiences to be able to reach our customer. And it's been a really effective way to introduce people to our brand.
Thank you, Alex.
There's DSP and search on Amazon specifically that should absolutely be used. Start with a small budget and trial and error.
Thank you. Toying.
So we do a lot of our e-commerce advertising on Amazon as well, and we're very targeted. We target specific brands, we target specific customers. We're pretty intense in how we target, and that has been very successful for us.
Thank you. Well, this conversation has been insightful, inspiring. I want to thank Amanda, Alex, and Toying, 3 driven entrepreneurs, for sharing their story and experience selling online with us today. And I want to wish all of you succeed as you learn to grow your business online. I learned about plan, partners, product, how to solve people's needs, and how to find a product that the people needs. And thank you so much. And for more information about how to get started selling on Amazon or other online retailers, be sure to check on their virtual booths for resources and training materials. We will share our entrepreneurs' webpage and contact information after conclusion of this session, should you be interested in learning more about their brands. We will also share my organization's website, nationalace.org. if you are interested in learning more about all resources. Take care, and thank you very, very much for your time. Thank you, Amanda, Alex, and Toyin. Thank you, thank you.